Welcome to the Warning Track Power Hour. I am Dr. Andrew Scaff. He is Dr. Michael Werman, Esquire. On today's show, we'll talk about the Kansas City Royals and their spring training streakiness. We'll be spending some time talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and their offseason moves. We'll begin today, though, near the Chiefs, but just in the NFL, with some new news, I suppose, over the last week. The franchise tags have been distributed. Only two have been handed out. And there's been some announcements on players leaving teams and being traded. Deebo Samuel's on the move. Joey Bosa is going to be released. Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf may both be leaving Seattle. So we're seeing a lot of different things moving around. Mike, of these things that have been announced so far, what do you find most interesting from the NFL offseason from last week?
Well, I guess it's the big names that get released, and sometimes it's big names that have had still pretty solid seasons the past year. I guess it's a lot of it's salary cap issues. I think the cap rises every year, but it doesn't. Or most years, I think it went down one time during the COVID
Right.
year, but it's going up this year, but not by a ton. And usually player salaries increase as well. So there's usually not any more room that teams have uh, from one year to the next. But I
Especially at
guess
the top end, the highest paid players, when they increase, their salaries go up, they tend to go up by quite a bit, right?
yeah. Well, then they tend to fill up all the salary all the room that's in the under the salary cap. So you sign another player, it goes up. Just mentioned the franchise tag. The Chiefs franchised um,
Trey
Trey
Smith.
Trey Smith and the Bengals franchise T Higgins. I think those were the only two franchise tags. And like before we went on there, you said that this was the fewest number of tags the NFL had used in quite some time. How long has it been since there were only two?
It's 94 apparently. So
94, so 31 years then.
you'd have been like
Yeah,
just starting high school then, right?
yeah. Usually, that might have been might have been one of the earliest years that the franchise label was available.
Yeah.
That's I think that's when the modern free agency period began. There were those old kind of Plan B free agents, which I think were all like restricted free agents that could only move if the team they were on didn't match the deal that the other teams were or something. I don't remember exactly how that worked, but
Yeah.
it's a big um, yeah, it's a big deal, I guess, that uh, like the franchise tag. I guess it pays teams a lot, but it pays players quite a bit of money, at least. But it's only for one year, and sometimes kind of kicks the can down the road where maybe their prime years are now going to be on the franchise tag rather than on their next contract, which is what really most players want, that second contract or that third contract. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Um, this is T. Higgins, I believe, second time being franchised. Cincinnati is a notoriously cheap franchise historically, but they've been having to pay Joe Burrow and trying to pay Jamar Chase and T Higgins, and maybe it looks like this year they'll be able to keep both of those players again, depending what I'm sure Chase maybe will get a contract offer where Higgins just got the franchise tag, but was there a name that you were most surprised to see let go so far?
I think it's probably the double whammy in Seattle, I think is probably maybe the most surprising just because it ends up being two guys because I think they announced that Tyler Lockett was going to be released and then DK Metcalf I think asked for a trade almost immediately afterwards. I mean, they may settle one of those, who knows, before it actually comes to
Yeah,
pass. But it seems surprising that you'd basically be, losing your two long running wideouts on the same in the
yeah.
same time.
I guess they have Jackson Smith Najigba there as the younger player, but yeah,
Hmm.
Seattle doesn't have a lot of high-end offensive talent other than those guys. So, um, yeah, maybe Metcalf saying, well, he wants a new quarterback to play for. This is someone you think the Chiefs might try to acquire. I believe they did kick the tires a little bit on Deebo Samuel. Um, but again, it's money that's the issue, and maybe just bringing back Hollywood Brown or DeAndre Hopkins, or I guess Devontae Adams has also been released by the Jets. I guess there wasn't much point for Devontae Adams to play for the Jets if Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to play for the Jets. So he's available. Um, there were some other decent named wide receivers that were released as well, but I think Christian Kirk from Jacksonville was released, but then he was right before he was released. I think he signed with the Texans. They traded him to the
Hmm.
Texans for a seventh rounder. But so there's been quite a bit of intrigue this offseason already. I think that Joey Bosa move is an interesting one.
And he's
Um,
had some injury problems too, so it may
yeah,
be that it's just some of it's just a cost cutting move, but also maybe trying to like start their move to the next generation of defensive player, I guess
yeah.
there.
So maybe he and Harbaugh didn't really get along. I'm not sure. Um,
Well,
I
they
don't.
did have cap problems last year, and Harbaugh does have to remake that whole roster in a
Yeah,
couple of years, so
yeah. Well,
maybe just
yeah. I
trying to
guess
get a
we'll
head
see what
start on it.
happens. I guess should we is that maybe we should transition into the Chiefs then because their big news recently was that they traded guard slash tackle more recently Joe Tourney, who was an All-Pro guard the last two seasons, first team All-Pro, former Patriots All-Pro as well, and um, four-time Super Bowl champ, I believe, Joe Tourney.
Yeah,
Um, was traded to the Bears this past couple of days um, for I think a fifth round pick or fourth round
yeah,
pick here, something like that,
I think fifth round, yeah.
in
Deebo was a
2026.
fifth round too.
Yeah, Deebo was a fifth round pick to the Commanders. So that's and Debo's been one of those players that's been injured a lot. When he
Hmm.
plays, he's very good, but he gets injured. I think his style of play is not conducive to his because he's a runner a lot of the times. I think that's when he is lots of his value is not only as a receiver but as a runner out of the backfield, and he
Yeah.
seems injured uh, a fair amount. Um,
That is
maybe
an
maybe
interesting move though to Washington. I think that's a good sign that Washington's actually trying to build on last year's success and
yeah,
going after a strong player that has a history of success and not just picking up like kind of random people trying to fill holes.
yeah,
This is I think it's a good sign for Washington trying to move forward.
yeah. Deebo Samuel has a big contract though that he has to uh, that they have to pay. I think so. That's probably the I believe Deebo he signed a 3 year almost $72 million contract. Uh,
Yeah.
and I think his, although it seems like maybe Washington can void some of that
Mm.
uh, money. I'm not exactly sure how it'll work, but
Yeah.
he's, but it's a decent amount of money that he's been guaranteed. Uh, but yeah, there was but yeah, anyway, so I guess that's the issue. But pairing him with Terry McLaurin is I think a good move for Washington.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll be getting in a NFC right and potential NFC playoff rivals, one of their best players to go to the um, competition could pay dividends for Washington, but while also weakening a potential playoff opponent in San Francisco. You kind of wonder what's
Right.
going on in San Francisco because I guess they paid Brandon Ayuk, but Ayuk is also injured quite a bit. Um, so you kind of wonder what's going on with the 49ers.
Well, a lot of that's going to be getting ready to actually pay Brock Purdy
Well,
because
Purdy, it's true.
sounds like they are negotiating with him for a new contract. So Uh, that may be pretty pricey, at least in comparison to what they're currently paying him, which is only like $1 million a year, which is a
Yeah, I,
bargain for a starting quarterback.
and I guess San Francisco's hoping that Ricky Pearsall, the guy who was actually shot before the season started, but then came back
Right.
and played a decent amount, but maybe he can replace some of Deebo's production.
Right.
But it seems like the 49ers have a lot of brittle kind of players, though. Other than Purdy, Purdy doesn't seem to miss much. Uh,
He's missed some games.
he's had some issues, but he seems to play through those
Uh,
a lot. He
he'll
missed the
miss
end.
like a game or so, but not
Yeah. Like Kittle is off and
weeks in
out.
a row. Yeah.
Samuel's off and out. Bosa is off and out. It's Ayuk. It kind of is a
Their running
they
back
have a
too.
large number of injuries always in San Francisco, more than a lot of teams anyway. Maybe it's
Yeah.
just our perception, but yeah, but back to the Chiefs, I think, I guess they have to pay Trey Smith quite a bit of money. And so maybe they like sort of the options to replace Tooney at guard go younger. Maybe Kingsley Suamataia will move inside, or Wandy Morris might move inside, or maybe there's a back, Hunter Nourzad or Caliendo or something as a backup that could be okay. But I've heard rumors as well that the Chiefs are going to try to sign Ronnie Stanley from the Baltimore Ravens as their left tackle to try to get him to cement the left side. And maybe, the Chiefs had been working on their interior line, but maybe, traditionally you want to have the strongest tackles, and then the interior is not quite as important as the tackles because those are the ones who protect you for your pass rush, protect your
Mm,
quarterback from the pass rush. So, and his Chiefs have kind of been the opposite. The tackles were the least, uh, I guess weakest links on the Chiefs line the past couple of seasons now. Um, but I think, yeah, we'll see what happens. Donovan Smith is still out there. I think he was actually injured most of the offseason, so maybe the Chiefs might kick the tires on him, bring him back again, or they'll draft somebody again.
we'll
You
for
get
sure draft somebody, though. They always
Juwan
seem to get
Taylor,
somebody.
I think, is probably not long for the Chiefs roster. He's probably going to be out after next year.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, were you
so
surprised that they traded Tooney though? Because he was like the actual sort of utility player, able to play multiple positions. Did you think they would
yeah,
keep him just because he had that flexibility?
well, you would maybe, but he's older. So maybe the Chiefs just want to get younger and think they can. Um, maybe this is Tooney's high point value point, maybe, but he's also due a lot of money.
Possibly.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. It's I think it's an interesting trade, but apparently the Patriots were also interested in uh Joe Tooney as well to go back to New England, which
Yeah.
I thought was interesting.
Do you think Tooney influenced that trade? Like he'd rather go to the Bears, that maybe they're further along in their rebuild than the Patriots are?
Sorry, yeah, they both have young quarterbacks. I think Caleb Williams is a little better now than Drake May, but maybe you say the other parts of the roster might be closer on the Bears side than the Patriots. But yeah, I don't know. That's the reason. Um, I think isn't Ryan Poles, is he still the Bears general manager?
I believe so.
He was a former um, Chiefs general manager, wasn't he? So maybe there's some yeah, he was the executive director of player personnel for the Chiefs before going to the Bears. So maybe there's a familiarity between Poles
Yeah.
and
Well, and they're
Barbie.
both sort of Midwest teams that aren't in the same conference even. So
That's a
it's
conference. That's maybe you want to trade him outside the conference.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's interesting because this Joe Tooney was just voted the team's MVP this season.
Yeah.
for switching to the left tackle at the end of the season when the Chiefs kind of need it. But maybe the Chiefs will bring back Humphreys as their left tackle. But I had heard the Ronnie Stanley rumor is their Chiefs are top choice. They tried getting a Trent Richardson a few years ago. Um, but Richardson signed a giant deal with the 49ers to stay there. But
Yeah.
so it's yeah, I don't know what yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the Chiefs roster looks like next year, who they can keep, who they get rid of,
Yeah.
and try to, is it a rebuild year or is it a year where there's still, or is maybe there's no such thing as a rebuild year with Mahomes as quarterback. So far there hasn't been.
Well, what was it? 2 seasons ago was supposedly a rebuild year, and
They won the
they won
Super
their second
Bowl.
straight title, second state title.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. But talking about like trades, um, when you hear these like rumors or see these articles about like players that are linked to trades, maybe to the Chiefs, say, do you take any stock in that, or do you even bother reading the articles that are associated with those, or do you just ignore them when you're inundated with these things, Mike?
Um, I like to follow because sometimes there is some f- there like, where there's smoke there is a fire, but a lot of it is kind of just speculation by a writer says, oh, that would be neat if this trade
Right.
happened, which it's um hard to tell what is real and what isn't. Um, but
Yeah, I've
um,
tended to like ignore all of those at this point.
mhm.
Because it's just so much of it's just speculations. Like I don't really care to go through the thought experiment of so many things that could happen when, most of it won't. So it just seems to be like wasted hope and energy trying to figure out which one of these is better when they're all nonsense.
Yeah. I'm
Especially when things like the trade in the NBA with uh Anthony Davis
and Luka
the
Doncic.
the Mavericks for Luka Doncic, right? Isn't that
The Mavericks
and
have
that
just
like
been
that didn't
horrible.
that was there was no rumor about that one before it happened. It was just like, oh,
No,
done. It's
and the
happening.
Mavericks' luck has been just horrible since that trade, since Davis has been out, and then I think Kyrie Irving has gotten a torn
ACL, yeah, he's
ACL, and then just there's been
out for a
other
year.
and things like that. So like it's been really bad for the Mavericks since that trade. But um,
I
yeah,
think they had another injury too that
yeah,
was another season long injury, I think. So
hmm
yeah, they're
you're right.
very hurting now at this point because they were looking like, well, they're still just as strong with Anthony Davis, and then he and Kyrie get hurt. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the year at this point. You would expect, right? That's it. Like they're out, right?
Yes, we're already March and playoffs start in late April. Uh,
Yeah,
so if you're out 6 weeks, it's pretty much the end of the year.
yeah.
Um, NHL, we'll talk about the playoffs when we get closer to them. NHL playoffs and uh, NBA playoffs. Oh, the NHL news. I guess the news is probably Alex Ovechkin getting closer and closer to Wayne Gretzky's mark. I think he's only 10 behind what would be the record now. So uh, he's been scoring goals at a fairly prodigious pace this
Right.
year. Maybe because, like we had mentioned before, his lightened usage and using him a little bit more sparingly than before, so he's a little fresher when he plays. Um,
But always on
but
power plays.
yeah, yeah, he's probably the best ever power play goal scorer in NHL history. But Um, yeah, so we'll talk about both of those things. We'll talk about college basketball as well. We're entering uh, conference tournament season next week. Um, so we'll talk about that possibly, which is the week before the NCAA basketball tournament, March Madness for both men's and women's basketball. Uh, we will fill out the World War Trek Power Hour official brackets and see how those do. We in past years we've also filled out following other different strategies. Maybe we can do those as well, like we've
Yeah,
done before. See how
absolutely.
strategies turn out. Um,
Fun strategies. Like I think last year you did one about like proximity to yourself, stuff like
yeah,
that, right? Like whichever
I
school was
did. I
closest to
did.
you personally, then that would be the school that you would pick. Those kinds of
Yeah,
things are always fun. Now, are you going to go back and watch last year's lead up to and then the recap of the tournament to see which strategy was the best, and then focus your time on those, or are you just gonna
I'm just gonna try to
do whatever?
remember as many strategies as I can.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I'll find the old episodes. Those are always fun to watch. But um, we could, I'll be like some of it will be like net rankings, some will be like Ken Pomeroy rankings, some of them will be,
I think
um,
Ken Palm did pretty well last year.
yeah, um, and so some of it will just be the the uh, I don't think Jeff Sagarin does rankings anymore, but it'll be
Yeah,
the different ranking systems like that.
great
So
seating is usually pretty decent, except in years that it's terrible.
I think we've also done campus population,
Mm,
uh, just coin flips or hybrid coin flip models, where we pick top seeds to advance early, and then we do coin flips after that. Um,
yes,
coin flip 116 is probably not a good thing to do a coin flip on, but
no,
we'll just pick all the ones to go forward. Every once in a while, I guess there have been, I guess, at least one 16 seed to beat a one seed.
it did finally
Virginia,
happen.
Virginia lost a few years ago
Yeah,
to a 16 seed, but um, and occasionally 15s and twos. But I think better ones, a hybrid model will probably be better. But the coin flip model doesn't usually work terribly well. What else have we done? We've done, I think,
I think we've
um,
done like which mascot would win in a fight.
yeah, we've done something like that. We've done.
You've gone back and looked at like power
Oh,
rankings from alternate years and
yes,
applying
I have
them
done
to the
that
current
too.
year.
25
And that
years
did
ago.
okay sometimes.
Yeah, that's done all
At
right.
least
That's done
at
okay.
least one instance it was fine.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes, well, some of the powers stay powers for years. Like, North Carolina was good 25 years ago or 50,
Right. Now,
some
like
of these.
this year, do you think you'll go back to a year that St. John's was a powerhouse because St. John's is back now,
Yeah, St.
being
John's was, you have to go back to the 80s probably, maybe go to 85 or something like that
yeah.
for St. John's 40 years ago. Um, and look at the seedings.
But that might be a year to pick though, just because St. John's hasn't been very relevant for quite a while at this point, but they're back.
Yes. Yeah, St. John's 85. So in St. John's 85-86 team was uh 31-5. They were number 3 and number 4 in the country. The year before that, they were also number 3, so they were very good that year. They were actually um, that was the year Georgetown won the national championship, but they were both Big East. But actually, um, St. John's was the Big East regular season champion that year when
Hmm.
Georgetown was the number one team. So St. John's was a powerhouse under Coach Lou Carnesecca back then. Um,
But now,
but
Rick
now they're
Pitino.
back with Pitino. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping Arkansas would be one of those powerhouse teams
With John Calipari.
with John Calipari, but that hasn't happened. Another
How have they
Italian.
done? I haven't really paid attention to them this year.
They've been kind
Are they
of middle.
relevant? Are they not relevant? Are they on
I
the
think they
edge of the
basically,
tournament?
I think they
They are.
basically have to win out. They have to win the conference tournament to go to
Ah,
the. Let's see what the record is right now. Um, Oops, it's the wrong thing.
I've just about got it here.
Currently Arkansas is 7-10 in the conference, 18-12 overall. So
They
they
have to
are
they have to at least make a
two,
very,
three,
very deep
four,
run.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 12th or 13th in the conference. There's a lot of bunches around them, but they needed they'll need to win. Um, I don't know how many more conference games they have.
I think just the one. I think it's this weekend is the final
One, so
non-conference game, before, the final regular season conference game before the tournament start.
yeah, they'll probably have to. They've beaten some decent teams, but uh,
Their
they
conference record wise, they're only one game behind a ranked team in Mississippi State. So
yeah.
that does that give you some hope then for Arkansas?
Well, I think there's some limit to the number of SEC teams that they're going to take to the tournament. They aren't going to say like, oh, let's put 15 SEC teams in the tournament. I think they'll probably cut it off at 10 or 11. So
Right.
they need to that top group, and I don't think they 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think they're probably gonna cut it off at 10. If they cut off at 11, maybe Arkansas could make it. But I'd say yeah, they probably have to win at least 3 games in the SEC tournament. Go to the finals probably, and
Yeah.
beat some highly ranked teams on the way
Well, I
there.
mean, it's not that hard. They're going to run into ranked teams no matter what they do. In like one game, I think they have to
Like
play
if
a
they beat
ranked team.
Auburn, like if they beat Auburn and
Yeah.
Florida, maybe.
Yeah,
Uh,
actually, I think if they win one game, I think they have to face like a top 10. That's pretty much what it comes down to. So they're gonna see some tough teams. And if they win, if they get to the finals, they will have gone through multiple ranked teams to get there. So that's
yeah, I
possibly
bet.
a good sign. Like maybe they're in one of the play-in scenarios, and since they have play-in games at like the 9 seed, which I still don't understand. But
Mhm.
those are things that happen.
Yes. Um, So we'll have that to look forward to. We also have upcoming the baseball season to look forward to. Right now, the Royals are in spring training. They got off to a hot start going 4-0. Then they lost their next 4 games, and it looks like they've won their last 4 games. So now they're 8-4
Yeah.
in spring training Cactus League play. Do you think this is a good sign, or is it the streakiness? Does that give you pause at all, or is it just spring training doesn't really matter, and the Royals are going to be as good as they are, no matter what, even if they, they're going to whatever they're going to be, we don't really know because spring training is not really a predictor of success.
I think it's pretty heavily on the latter of what you just mentioned anyway. So I don't think there's really much correlation between spring training and in the regular season, especially the way the Royals are playing now too, because they are taking more like traditional MLB team perspective on spring training where they're not running their starters deep into games like they used to. So when it was so far skewed towards the wins because they were in spring training because they were going deep into games with their starters against second, third, fourth tier players. I think it's really, yeah, turned into a crapshoot at this point, though. So I don't
Yeah.
think it's anything.
Do you think, I guess, are there any players that are surprising that maybe will earn roster spots that you thought wouldn't? I think one player we've been keeping our eye on is last year's first round pick, Jack Caglione, as he says, not Caglianone,
Yes.
as it should be, but
Yeah.
Caglione, right? Isn't that how he?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hit his second home run of the spring today, although it was relatively late. But yeah, so he's displayed some power now against major league or near major league players, which is impressive for just being a second year minor
Mhm.
leaguer at this point. Uh, do you think we'll see him at the major league level this season? Maybe that's maybe the
Yeah, that's the I
interesting concept, at least. Do you think we'll see him this year, Mike, at the major league level?
We'll have to tear it up, double A, triple A, probably. I'd say he's probably starting at least double A. Um, he started high A last year, so he's probably going to be up to double A this year. He's 22 years old. He just turned 22. So he was also a potential pitcher as well.
Right.
Um, so maybe the Royals will work on his pitching, although it doesn't seem like he's been doing much pitching lately. So
Yeah, they didn't have him pitch in the minors last season, but he was only there for a brief time.
handful of games, yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
like two completely independent things have to happen, right, to see him at the major league level. He has to play really well, and the Royals kind of have to probably not be playing very, or have some catastrophic injury.
Well, or just like he's just forcing his way into the lineup. If he's batting
Yeah,
100 in AAA or something like that, he's going to play. Um,
but if they're already a playoff team with whoever they have, then maybe they let him develop a bit longer, right? So
maybe,
it's yeah,
but I think the Royals could use more bat. They could always use some more bats. Uh,
yeah,
they don't. I think they're still weaker on the offense than they are on the pitching staff. So,
yeah.
um, and especially I think in the outfield, I think you can probably stick Caglianone. He's first baseman, like Pasquantino, but I think you probably stick him in right field. Uh,
I think that's what they've been testing him out as in spring training is to get him some reps in the outfield in the corner outfield spot because that is the Royals' weakest
mhm.
position as of now.
Yeah,
We have seen in spring training, Michael Massey has been playing in the outfield a bit, and I believe it's going okay so far.
yeah.
I
It's
haven't,
usually a little easier for an infielder, like a non first baseman infielder, to go to the outfield. There's a
yeah,
utility play, like a middle infielder to play in the outfield, like Massey has been. So um, yeah, even I guess third baseman like Alex Gordon can convert to the outfield as well. It takes a little while longer.
yeah.
Melendez, it hasn't quite ever become a great outfield player from his infield days, but maybe Massey will be a little. Massey's more athletic than Melendez is seeming, but I think is how's Melendez doing this in spring training? He's always poised to make a turnaround. He seems to be sort of the Hunter Dozier maybe of current players, somebody who has a lot of
Yeah,
potential,
man.
having a lot of potential, but never really um,
Yeah,
capitalized on it.
quite being able to put it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it seems like he's hitting okay so far. I think he's hitting around 300. I think he hit a home run yesterday.
Okay.
But you always have to take Arizona home runs with a grain of salt too, because it is a bit thinner air
Hmm.
there, and the temperature's already warmer in Arizona than it will be in Kansas City for several months, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The
Yeah,
ball carries more of the drier, maybe just the thinner air.
yeah,
Um, and then in Kansas City, although humidity I think helps the ball in the summertime, but I think it hurts in non-summer weather. I
yeah.
think it weighs it down more, especially if it's rainy or something like that. You don't have a lot of rainy days in Arizona. Um,
Right. Although there's always seemingly one rain out in spring training though.
yeah, you'll get the occasional
There's usually
cloudburst
one.
in Arizona. Maybe so we'll have all that to look forward to. Is there any I haven't been kept keeping up with Severance the last couple of weeks. I haven't
Mm.
watched it. Have you
I
been
haven't even started the second season, Mike.
second season? I was trying to think, is there a show that we could uh start watching? Um I was most because you spoke of Arizona, the recent show that I watched um was called Dark Winds. Have you heard of that one?
I've seen the first two seasons. Is there two seasons
Yeah,
out?
the
I think there's a third
Navajo
season soon.
See, I just watched the first two, which is on Netflix now, with the Navajo
Okay.
cop show,
Yeah,
which is kind of good.
it's a bit
Um,
supernatural. I think it's actually based on a comic book, which I was surprised to hear.
yeah, it's based
Did
on.
you know that?
I thought it was based on novels or something. I'm not sure. Maybe it's
Maybe it's a
comics.
graphic novel. I'm not sure. I thought for some reason I thought it was like I had heard that it was a comic book. I don't know, but maybe it's a
Uh,
graphic. Maybe it's a graphic novel instead of a comic book. But splitting hairs here.
Based on a set of novels, detective
Hmm.
fiction by American author Tony Hillerman, is Leaphorn and
Oh,
Key,
maybe
uh,
I'm confusing it with a different show then.
Dark Winds,
Yeah,
or no,
maybe I'm thinking of a different show.
you Dark Winds you got right, the Navajo supernatural thing. But oh, you're thinking
Yeah,
a different show based on a comic book, you mean?
it must be a different show that was yeah comic related.
Tony Hillerman, who actually died in 2008. His daughter, I guess, has picked up his novels and has written newer
Oh,
ones. Um,
so season
and
three looks like comes out
this
this
series,
weekend.
what'd you say?
Well, season three starts this weekend apparently.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, the season four has been they've greenlit season four. So the seasons have been set in like the early 70s. So like I guess maybe they're gonna maybe that's when the novels were written.
I
Um,
think so. That sounds right. Oh, it looks like it is a weekly release show,
on
which is a little
AMC.
surprising for Netflix things, right?
Yeah.
No, it's an AMC show.
Ooh, apparently one of the novels was adapted for TV for PBS Mystery back in 2002, a novel called Skinwalkers.
Hmm.
So uh, maybe it's been adapted before for a television, which is interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was I thought it was a fun show to watch. Only 6 episodes in a season. It was easy to get through. I watched them when I was in Baltimore this past week. So um, yeah, that was exciting. So yeah, I don't know. We should think of some media thing to watch.
Yeah.
Although I guess maybe most of our time is going to be taken by the next couple of weeks with the NCAA basketball tournaments and things like that. But maybe for the early baseball season, April, May,
Yeah.
something like that, we can
Well,
have a.
season three starts this weekend apparently, so maybe we can watch the first episode and
Well, I don't have AMC, so
oh,
it's not
okay.
on. So
Oh, so you can't watch it now anyway, so
I can't watch it now anyway. Yeah, I'd have to wait for it to
so I
come
could
out.
watch it and spoil it for you on the show every week.
You could. That would be, and it wouldn't really matter to me. Uh, I'm not a huge. I'm not real. Yeah, spoiler alert. You know, I'm not that. Spoilers don't really spoil things for me in a enjoyment sort of capacity. I'll still watch something if I know. Sometimes I like to know what happens. If I'm especially if it's a little tense. Oh, what's going on?
But
Um,
now the lead actor from Dark Winds was also in Reservation Dogs. Have you seen
hmm,
that show?
I have
On
not.
Netflix?
I've heard it's good though.
He plays a quite a different character in that show. He's also I think he's still a police officer in that one, but he's a very different person. So he's not in any means the same character, but has a similar role, similar job, I guess. But
Oh,
Reservation Dogs, good show, great show actually.
Don McLaren, the Lee Porn guy.
Yeah.
He was in Fargo. Yeah, that's what I recognized him from. He was in the second season of Fargo. He was that um Native American like henchman, hitman kind of guy that
Yes.
was with the mob family, like in the Dakota mob family. Um that was a good that Fargo was a really good show.
That was a good show.
I don't know if any of you have you seen the most recent season of Fargo, season 5?
Yeah. Is there more coming too?
I'm not sure if there's going to be another one or not.
For some reason, I thought I heard something that there might be more of it coming. I'm trying to remember what the most recent season was, though.
It was
What was that one set?
the one with John Hamm in it.
Oh, the Juno Temple
Sure.
season.
Your
Yeah, that
Temple with
was
John Hamm.
pretty dark. I mean, that shows every eight season of the show is very dark.
I was just apparently Fargo's going to take a long break before season 6, apparently.
Okay.
Um, but I'm not sure if it'll come around or not. It should be uh it hasn't been confirmed yet, but no, Holly thinks there should be another one, the showrunner. So
Yeah, it's probably just depends on how soon he can write
development.
it and
Yeah.
put everything
I
in
like
together.
yeah.
Because they always have like huge actors in it though. They don't
Yeah.
they don't work with relative unknowns. They tend to find well-established actors and have them play something very different from what they've been accustomed to.
Yes. Yes. He's been they've had a lot of they've had, yeah, lots of big names. But starting with Billy Bob Thornton in the first season.
He was
Uh
fantastic in that role too. That was
yeah,
great.
that was yeah. Um that was really good. I
The show I would suggest for you though, as I've done many times off air, is Slow Horses.
Low Horses. Yeah, you've talked about it. I've seen a couple episodes. I
Okay.
haven't I didn't get into it, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. So maybe I get
Yeah.
back into um uh but John Hamm currently is in the show Landman with Billy Bob Thornton. Have you watched Landman on
I've
Paramount
seen
Plus?
I've seen a couple episodes.
Oh,
Have you
really?
watched it?
I haven't watched any episodes of Landman.
It's a lot of Billy Bob doing Billy Bob things.
Yeah, that could be good. He was good in Goliath. I like that show too.
Yeah, that show got really weird at times too, but
Yeah,
it
the
was a
last
good
season was
show.
pretty weird. Last season was pretty weird.
Yeah.
Or the one with the one of the casino, uh,
Hmm.
Native American casino, and
Right.
Dennis Quaid. Yeah, was a weird. That was
Yeah.
weird. Yeah, yeah. There's some interesting things. So anyway, we've kind of gone off the rails. We're talking about our TV watching habits, but maybe we'll discuss something like that next episode of the One Trick Power Hour. We could find we'll discuss off the air. Maybe find something to watch that
Yeah.
will both enlighten us and rivet us, as well as you, the audience, uh, while the Chiefs and the Royals are on their hiatus at this moment. So we'll come back to that next week. But do we have anything else to add this week uh, before we sign off?
Well, I think we'll be back to our betting segments too with the conference tournaments coming up. So that'll be a nice return for us to some kind of normalcy, I suppose.
Yeah, we can make bets on You want to make bets on the conference tournaments?
Yeah, I think we've tended to do that, and then at least pick like who we expect to like come of the different regions when we get to the NCAA tournament
NCAA
and
tournaments.
stuff
Yeah,
like that
we'll
too.
do the
So,
NCAA tournaments. Should we make conference tournament bets? Do you want to do that?
yeah, I think we'll do that too. Yeah,
Maybe we can do the Power Four plus Big East
yeah,
uh, conference bets.
makes sense. Yeah,
Okay, and maybe we can pick
yeah,
yeah, we can do that. Pick two if you want to pick one or two teams from each conference
yeah,
uh, as possibilities to win the conference tournaments.
yeah. That makes sense. Yeah,
Okay, well that
it's
sounds
been a few weeks since we've had any betting. So
yeah.
we're
That's
both
in
itching to get back to it. I'm sure.
yeah. We're both yes addicted gamblers, so we have the itch that needs to be scratched with our fake money that we always bet. So uh,
Yes.
make some good bets on those. Okay, so we'll do that next week. So we'll have that going for us, and um, yeah, so we'll see you guys around next week here at the One Trick Power. Um, as always, I am Dr. Michael Werman. He is Dr. Andrew Scaff. We are the One Trick Power Hour. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast, which is available on many different podcast delivery platforms. We're now in season 5 of uh, the the series. This was our third episode of season 5, I
Right.
believe, right?
That's right.
And we'll be back next week with our fourth episode. You might I slightly I guess I misled some of our viewers this past week because I am back now in Frostburg. I had to delay we had to delay our filming of our episode this week while I was in Baltimore. I had some other business to attend to, so we waited until I got back to Frostburg to film it. So you might notice the background is my normal background and not a residence in background as it was last week if you're watching it. But if you're listening to us, you probably don't notice any difference. Although maybe the microphone sounds a little different from my desktop at home versus my laptop on the road. I'm not sure if it really does or not, but
Hmm. I don't notice a difference, but maybe
yeah.
someone with a more keen ear
Some of the
may.
work, some of the an ear trumpet or a hearing aid listening to our uh, broadcasts. So we,
I hope there's at least one, if not all, of our listeners are using ear trumpets, Mike.
we have that demographic locked down as the uh,
Yes.
Warjack Power Hours chief demographic, the ear trumpet set. Uh,
Hopefully we'll have Warning Track Power Hour branded ear trumpets for sale in our merch shop soon.
yeah, yes. We should get one of those. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking up ear trumpets now. Uh,
I mean, you're not really a podcast until you have swag, right?
yes,
Branded merch.
yeah. There's also something called a Pinard horn, which is a type of stethoscope used by midwives, similar to an ear trumpet. Uh, but I don't think it's used by midwives currently.
Hmm.
But um, oh, so
It's a
FC,
wonderful field, though, Mike. Midwifery.
yeah, yes, midwifery. FC Rhine and Son of London ended its ear trumpet manufacturing activity in 1963. It was both the first and last ear trumpet manufacturer worldwide, I believe.
Perhaps Warning Track Power Hour Industries will revive the
Mhm.
industry.
Yes, yes.
Perhaps.
Uh, I'm just there's a lot of great things about the first firm to begin commercial production of the ear trumpet was established by Frederick C. Rain, Rein or Rhine in London in 1800. Probably Rain if he's in London. If he's in Germany, he'd be Rhine.
Yeah.
Also hearing fans and speaking tubes. Um, these instruments help concentrate sound energy while still being portable. Uh, and Rain was commissioned to design a special acoustic chair for the ailing King of Portugal, King John VI, which was a throne that had ornately carved arms that looked like open mouths of lions, and those holes acted as the receiving area for acoustics, which were transmitted to the back of the throne via a speaking tube into the king's ear. Uh,
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
well,
we
so that's
only we may be lucky enough to have those devices in our futures.
yes, ear trumpets.
Oh, I want
Uh,
one of those sound thrones.
Yes, and there were like some. Yeah, I'm looking at some pictures of some that they were small, and they grew smaller and smaller as time went on. So they weren't that different from hearing aids. They were like there were some like looked like kind of like little miniature kind of ram's horns. They
Hmm.
your ear, and they kind of wrap around, and they'd get the sound. So Yeah, so maybe, yeah. So I guess the electronic hearing aid has supplanted the ear trumpet, but in case of some sort of apocalyptic electricity grid malfunction, maybe the ear trumpet will have to be brought back into. But of course, if there's that, we wouldn't have the Warner Power Hour any longer either without our. Unless we'd have to be just a live have a live studio show where people would come in and watch the
We'll
Warner
just have to
Power.
run down the street shouting at people, I think. Is where we're going.
We'd have to send out flyers to say come.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Um,
Mimeographed flyers.
yes, we'd have to. Yeah, it would have to be an old mimeograph machine, wouldn't it?
I
Uh,
think so.
if it's
I'm
not
picturing
electronic.
your apocalyptic future.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's getting closer and closer, it looks like, with the current trends. But
Yes. It sure is. Wow.
well, we'll see if we can. We might not even be able to afford the Wardrake Power Hour since we import so much of it from Canada.
Yes. Absolutely.
So we get our ear trumpets and all of our statistical analysis come from Canadian sources. So
Mhm.
uh, it'll be 25% more expensive. So our viewers and listeners will have to pay a 25% fee above and beyond their already what they already pay to listen to the Power Hour,
Yes. Absolutely.
which of course is free. So do not panic. Your costs of the one trip power will not increase, at least not from our end. Maybe uh, you know somebody's going to try to make a quick buck off you at some point, but no one here at the Power Hour will. So anyway, we already did our sign off, so we'll do our shorter secondary sign off, saying that we thank you for your patronage, and we here at the One Track Power Hour will wish you a good day.